Okay, we are live. All right, let's double check here. Hey, Mystic, how are you doing this evening? I'm not sure if I'm fast, but oh well. Yep, I hope everyone, hopefully my fellow Americans had a safe 4th of July. Hello there, Dwight. Thank you for coming in. But my 4th of July was relatively boring. I thought Arlington, Vermont would have had something, but apparently they didn't really have anything. I've heard somebody with fireworks. Hey, Rail Artist. First, cookies for everyone. But yeah, it was relatively very boring 4th of July for myself. Actually, the Sunday before, the reason why I canceled was actually more interesting. Had a slow computers. That's one of the every now and then my computer decides to go, we're going to go 100%, and then after that, the 100% on the hard drive, and after that, it just basically it only looks at the hard drive and shuts everything else down. So all of a sudden, I'm not broadcasting because the hard drive is too busy doing its thing. I haven't. Every now and then I poke, when I'm at Staples where I got this computer, I sort of poke around going like, should I get a newer computer? I was actually looking at one that this is a laptop, but I was looking at one of those one in yeah, sometimes you're going to taking 5. It's like, whereas a former roommate of mine back in college, he had an Amiga that didn't crash. It did a guru meditation, and couldn't do anything until you turned the thing off and turn it back on again. So it's one of those things that going like, hello there, Daryl. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, it's like the thing is that I got 2 drives on mine. One is a solid state drive, which I guess the operating system is on. But then there's a normal hard drive that's a lot slower, and when that gets pegged to 100, it just it's using virtual memory instead of actual memory, and that gets annoying at times because it's like I try to have the least amount of programs running at the same time. Basically I have Task Manager running, and I do have Firefox running, that's how I'm getting on the Streamyard and all that stuff. But that's usually the only things that I have. And then of course you got the basically I have no control of the programs in the background, so it's one of those things of so but it's one of those things of I used to know a lot about I used to be decent with computers, but now the computers have gotten so like my car. I used to be able to fix my car. Now everything is so computerized and all that I don't know exactly what to do, and I admit that I'm a little afraid of pulling something and all of a sudden, okay, now I have to actually go to the dealership to get the damn thing fixed. There was one time changed the battery in the car. All of a sudden the radio was inaccessible. I'm like, why would changing the battery make the radio inaccessible. And I found out that the way Honda had it set up is that if the battery was disconnected, you had to go back to Honda to put in a code to turn around and reactivate the radio, so people wouldn't steal the radios out of the car. And it's one of those things of, why would somebody steal a factory radio? But oh well. But that's how it is. Yes, this is technically, I guess it's a family show, but there is no family here. It's just me, myself, and I. But I guess people who are here do have families, so. But yeah, my 4th of July was relatively boring. I did get out a little bit just to travel around and see what was going on, and Arlington was pretty dead, or I just didn't go to the right place and all that. As I said, I had heard fireworks. But unfortunately, with the amount of trees that we have around here, I wasn't able to see exactly where the fireworks were. I'm looking around, I'm hearing them, but I don't see them. So, all right, enough of this silliness. Let's say we switch cameras. And let's see if I got the right one. Yes, I got the right one. All right. Well, as you can see, I found the index cards that I'm using for shims. Well, it looks like I might have to move the camera a little bit because it's a little bit too far forward. Looks like I gotta. Let me actually turn around and actually clean everything off camera beforehand. All right. So right now, this right here is seems to be a little low, a little crooked. So I think I gotta add a piece of something over here. All right. Now, Daryl, is that alien as in foreigner or off planet? Because that's what, from my understanding, that's what alien originally was referring to, was basically foreigners. Not necessarily people off the planet. Well, hello there, Anthony. Thank you for showing up. And, also, I'm very grateful that you said hi, even though you're playing with Cayenne. So what are you and Cayenne playing with? What shenanigans are you up to? Actually, what is a German word for shenanigans? Beyond the galaxies. let's put some pieces here and see if that gets rid of the wiggle out. All right, that gets rid of the wiggle. So this looks like it's all right. Hold on a second. I gotta turn around and actually put on the brighter light on so I can see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, the brighter lights, even though I can see what I'm doing now, unfortunately, I think causes interference with the cameras. Or do they? At least one doesn't. You might be able to see a slight, it's the older, it's a camera that, where the light is, if I turn this off, if I turn my normal lights off, and, yeah, there we go. We turn them off. Yes. I'm used to seeing interference. I wonder what changed. Huh. I actually rather like it this way because the lights are definitely brighter this way. I wonder what has changed. Because originally, these brighter lights had an interference pattern on them. But I'm not seeing an interference pattern anymore. Maybe an update has gotten rid of it or something, because I hadn't changed anything with the cameras, but I'm not seeing interference. Because the reason why I was using the dimmer lights was all right, go back to work with Cayenne, and I would say tell him say hi and all that, but he has no clue who I am. Tio the Little Bus. I have no idea what that is, but thank you for coming in, Anthony. But that's good to know. And I can actually use bright lights instead of trying to do things in relative darkness. Well, something nice to know what's happening on today. All right. It looks like I might have to take some off of here. Let's do this without strings, the bridge. Oh, this is so much brighter. I'm assuming somewhere along the line, a Sofdate came around and decided to help out the cameras. All right, that brought it down to the level of the stringers on this side. So it looks like I got one side ready. So let's try that. No, one too many because now it's rocking. It's rocking a little bit. So let's throw. And the thing is, I took out one, and now it's rocking. All right, putting it back makes it so it doesn't rock, but now it's too high. It's actually still too high. All right, it's going to require something that's probably a little bit more getting like sandpaper and lowering that down. But all right, let's try this side. This side is definitely way too low, which is good. So that means we have more options to bring it up. So we put that there, that there. That's definitely going to be definitely higher than needed. So how is everyone's 4th of July? Whether you celebrate the U.S. 4th of July or not, I'm assuming other countries have similar celebrations, not necessarily of independence, but of okay, that's gonna take a lot of shimming. This side went a little bit too far down, but that is okay. Oh wow, let's see how much will this go down? Oh, still more. And one thing I found out, I'm not sure if this is the proper way of doing it, but it seems that having it too low makes it easier to adjust properly. All right, let's see. So we have 1, 2, 4, total of 6. So that means we can probably get away with 3 halves. Okay. Now that we did this, all right, now it's up to the bridge. Now we gotta get rid of the wobbling out. Now let's see. Okay, Let's take one of these. Again, cut it in half. Actually, I might have to cut it into fourths. Also, this Saturday I was introduced to, well, it could be another hobby. Told the guy who introduced me to this hobby, I'm like, I don't need another one. It's like, oh, yes, you do. But that's one of cycle carts. I guess cycle cart racing became a thing before the pandemic. And, well, I think he wants, me to join and all that because, it's one more person to race against. So that's why my assumption is that why he wants me to join. I'm sort of kind of more interested in the technology itself. That still wobbles a little bit. But it is, it's one of those things of, it might be quote unquote cheap, to get a six horsepower motor with a drive and all that, and then be able to assemble basically what is akin to is an adult sized go-kart, and then be able to race them. Okay, that looks, I got the wrong side. All right, that looks solid. Let's see. Where is some of the older ties? Hopefully, they don't have too much stuff on them. So I want to be able to lay these down. Actually, that looks like it's been ripped apart. I want something that has I want to be able to take these ties and figure out if everything's straight across. All right, that looks like it works. Unfortunately, the bridge itself looks like it's not flat either, which suggests that these are not flat, the abutments, but as you can see, stuff has peeled away from it. But the base is cardboard, so that might be this might not be the best thing because I'm not sure if I did seal the bottom, so it's probably going to bounce all over, warp all over the place. which it's unfortunate. That's yeah, it's one of those things, live and learn, basically. All right. All right. Time to catch up on the live chat. What I'm building is basically I had a, as you can see here, this is the size of the original diorama, and now I'm expanding on it. And I took the original bridge off, or I took the original roadbed off so I can expand everything because I didn't want to damage the bridge. And so now I'm in the process of, getting, now that I got this all done, now I'm trying to reintegrate the bridge, or reintegrate the roadbed at this point, then get all new ties, and then reintegrate the bridge on there, and then I might actually, before I go that nuts, I might actually work more on the scenery first. But eventually, have something, bring it back to hopefully close to this. One of the things I did wrong on this one is I painted green underneath, so it, to me, it doesn't look right. I should have went with brown, like I'm doing here. And then, is having that under the base ground, because basically grass is on top of ground. So usually the ground on underneath is going to be brown. It's not going to be green. This is not the bridge is a kit, and it's from Hunterline. It's their covered bridge. Everything else is not. These poles here, they're basically bamboo sticks, and the wood that's holding it up, I was able to scrounge from work. Basically, one of the places that that rent from us is a cabinet maker, and they had these small little strips of wood, so I grabbed a whole bunch, and they're a little oversized for the planking and all that, but they were also hardwood and free, so that's why I went that direction. So it looks like this is going to be all right. This side I'm going to have to probably file down a little bit more. The rocks are actually aquarium rocks. I picked a color that's very close to what the color is here. Before I go too far, I might actually have to take a vacuum cleaner to everything, but that's going to be noisy. But let's see here. This is probably, it's overkill, but an underkill at the same time, because this is a metal file, so it might not. This is probably not going to take as much as I want in the amount of time. Well, I wouldn't say that this is a tall mountain. Actually, about its base, the stream is actually about half the height of the. Well, it's only about yay deep. And this is a diorama. It's not going to be operating. going to design it so I can add power to it. So maybe I could have a like quote action scene on it, but it's not going to be operating in the normal sense of a layout. Basically, I do is just basically take a couple of alligator clips and connect it to the layout that way. This is being a metal file. This is not taking a lot off. I think it's actually leaving more metal filings than actually filing. Yeah, I'm thinking about gonna have to get actual sandpaper. Yeah, because this is doesn't even. I think it's cleaning the file than actually cutting it. So that will be something for later on. I think I gotta go and buy some more sandpaper anyway. So. So we'll glue this down. And we'll go that away. All right. So flip that over. All right. So lots of glue. So second half of this is probably going to be very boring. But I am really happy that the overhead lights work properly. Oh, hello there, Split Rock. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, it's one of those things of I watch a lot of machinist channels, and they are some of them are deciding that you used to have to build your own stuff and all that, and it would be cheaper that way. But a lot of them are finding out that it's actually it's getting to the point where it's cheaper to actually buy stuff that's Chinese than instead of building it yourself. Quinn from Blondie Hacks just there. She just finished building a project with a die filer, and she wanted to build a bench for it. And you know, she's getting she thought she had all the stuff and all that, and then she wound up, I guess, went onto a website which is their equivalent to the Canadian equivalents to Lowe's and Home Depot. It was something I had company I never heard of, but she turned around and instead of building the bench, because she happened to realize that a bench, you know, no matter if it's big or small or something like that, it winds up being just as since the hardest part is the corners, and so it doesn't matter if it's a large or small large or small bench, it's going to take the same amount of time. And so what she wound up doing was she saw this basically a prefab bench. I almost want to say a Chinese style bench, which it was actually cheaper and quicker for her to modify than to turn around and build a whole place, or build a whole turn around and have her build the bench. And that's not quite sure how to feel specifically about that. I mean, it's one of those things of skills might be lost because it's just cheaper to turn around and buy the stuff instead of actually building it. She was planning on using her own scrap stuff and all that, but she didn't have enough scrap, so she's figured out that I had to buy all the material, and the material would have cost about $50, and she bought this. That was just the material alone, not necessarily her, time and everything else. And I think the bench she bought was about $25, and I was like, it gets to a point where it's like you're not saving money by building it yourself. All right, that's a little wavy. So let's say we add some non-waviness to it. And it almost goes to the same thing with scratch building, like locomotives and stuff. I mean, you might be able to get, it might wind up costing you more, especially the detail parts. You try to get detail parts and all that, and they're detail parts, sometimes can eat up half or even 3/4 of the price of the locomotive that you're trying to do. Which, if you're doing like New York Central, the Pennsylvania Railroad, Union Pacific, it seems that someone already has a locomotive out there. I was like doing Delaware and Hudson, and there are very, Delaware and Hudson, they don't really make the steam engines. I mean, there's plenty of diesels all over the place because, diesels are a lot easier to, they're mass produced, usually are mass produced. So it's easier to, just slap on, insert Delaware and Hudson paint scheme on it. But as for trying to do a steam engine, Delaware and Hudson had very unique engines. So there was, and since it's such a small railroad, comparatively, they usually didn't make many models of Delaware and Hudson equipment. And if Delaware Hudson stuff, steam engines were made, they tried to basically have a different what like a US. They couldn't do USAR because Delaware Hudson never had anything along those lines. I remember when the I-8C first came out with they announced the Pacifics. It's like, ooh, they're going to come out with a Delaware Hudson Pacific, and people got excited, and then took one look at when they finally came out. It's like, this is not a Delaware Hudson engine. The details were completely off. They basically took something that was very popular, and they just slapped a Delaware Hudson blue-gray paint scheme on it. It was the Streamline Pacific. Okay, Mystic. But it's one of those things of all right, let's see how far we need to flatten this out. No, not that far to go with this side. Yeah, it's almost flat right now. But yeah, it's one of those things of I think a lot of places are getting to a point where it's just easier to buy stuff than actually make stuff. And I mean, in my humble opinion, is that when it gets that way at a larger scale, it'll get to a point where the ability to, even repair things will disappear. Because it's just easier to buy stuff. I mean, when I worked for Xerox for a short time, it was to a point where I guess at one time they used to fix, problems at the board level. I mean, if there was a problem with the circuit board, they would turn around and find out what the problem part was and actually desolder it out, put a new part in, solder a new part in. Now, or when I was there, which was around 2008, it was just basically, find out what circuit board was causing the problem and turn around and just send the circuit board back, because it was a lot easier to do it a lot quicker to do it that way. It wasn't necessarily easier, it was just quicker. And at the time, it was all about, trying to lower lower the amount of time that you spend on a customer. And then after I left, I found out they did something that was, it was cost cutting, but at the same time, it wound up making repair times about, I think it was almost about twice as much or something like that. I was in the Albany, New York area, and they had a parts place that was in the Albany area, Um, and they decided at 2008 to, after eliminating as many people as they could, turn around and eliminate the parts place and consolidate it into, I believe, Rhode Island or something like that. And in doing so, all of a sudden, what would have taken an hour to do that, or if there was something that took an hour, all of a sudden they would have to add 2 hours to it because it took an hour to travel to the new place. And then they were complaining of why it was taking so long. It's like they added 2 hours to the travel time, but they still thought it was a good idea. I remember one customer was saying that it's amazing that Xerox, with all the mistakes that's done over the years, it's still in business. So yeah, I want to say that Xerox probably has done a lot of stupid things, but they've done smart things because they are still in business. All right, this is getting layered up like plywood. All right, I might have to. Let's see, how is this doing this way? All right, let's add that. I might have to something along those lines to try to not overdo the the roughness. All right, let's see what this does. It's one of those things of the thickness of the glue itself also probably should be taken into account. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Now it's suggesting this be put on here. Now, let's see. I'm trying to think now for Sidetrack Sunday. Let's see. It is, well, the week that I missed, that would be John, the Skoku Killer Rally. Let's see. I think normally it would have been normally I think it would have been Heath, but since Heath has pulled off a little bit, whoops, not yet. I think it's Nissy now. I think she's in the second week like up. And there's nothing wrong with just listening, Daryl. It's one of those things of I'm usually a pretty quiet person and all that, so it's one of those things of one of the, I guess, I don't want to say healthy, therapeutic things is me just babbling along. Yes, Nissy. All right. So it is not quite. Probably go on for a couple more minutes. Once I get this all built up, I'll probably stop there. Actually, that looks like a good spot right there. All right, but it's still, all right, I need more on this side now. I wound up building up all this and all that, but now I need to add stuff over there. Not quite sure if Mr. Nissy is going to be showing up because I don't know. It seems that they're I get the impression that they're a good comedy routine with being by themselves and all that. So don't know, but it seems that they have fun with each other, which is a good thing. Thing is, every now and then you have you're blessed with the opportunity to meet people that are genuinely a good couple. Some couples, it's like some couples. I want to say it's like they're a good fit as a couple, but that's at the same time sort of kind of scary because they're that kind of a couple. It's one of those things that going like, oh, it's like it's nice to see, it's a nice healthy couple and all that, but boy are they weird. But they have the same weirdness and they get along. I mean, I haven't seen that much with haven't seen that much with Mr. Nissy with Nissy. Some of the things I've seen are very positive and all that, but don't know them too well. I know Joyce and Anthony Dodge. They seem to be a quirky couple in a good way. And the thing is that with the, I mean, a lot of times on YouTube, you don't know. There are some I've seen some channels. It's like after a while, it's like they, they're doing something that obviously is not, you know, it's quote unquote not sponsored, but it awfully seems that it is, or something that is sponsored, and they're, oh, this is so great and all that, and but then it's something that's like, okay, it's a little bit too, seems a little bit too perfect. Sort of like almost acting in front of the camera. But like with Anthony Dodge, it seems that he doesn't care, what people think about him and all that. So it's like, hey, you want to, it's there's poking at fun of people, or people that are on there that have been on his channel for a while. At first, it's one of those things that going like, I was admittedly not too impressed at the beginning, but then it's like it kept on showing up and all that, and I just kept on watching it. And then once I understood Mr. Dodge and his wife Joyce and all that, then all of a sudden it became, sort of, okay, these, they're actually genuine, whereas some other ones that I've come across, mostly in the travel channels that I looked at first, they seem genuine, and then after a while, it's like, are they being genuine, or are they just doing it for the camera? And the thing is with Anthony Dodge, he does things for the camera, but it makes it obvious that he's doing it for the camera. Being a little over dramatic and all that, and so that's why I didn't get it first. And then it's like, oh, they're deliberately being over dramatic. Gotcha. All right, got this rock that's here. I'm almost done for this evening. There we go. Is that a rock, or is that a piece of wood? Oh, okay. It is. It's a rock that's not like, it doesn't look like it was tumbled very well. But now we can sit this down. All right, I guess we'll call this good for now. Let this dry for a good week and go from there. But I'm actually glad that because these are the lights I have been using for lighting. But the thing is that they're not that bright, and they get very, very hot. The other ones, which are larger and brighter, they actually get a lot more space and all that. Let's move these out of the way so they actually show you more light. Oops, turned it on. Nope, turn off. We'll find another thing for those. But yeah, I'm actually very happy that whatever software update turned around and changed things, made it so it's no longer having interference. Or is it? Okay, now that I'm actually looking at it, there's still interference. Good night, Daryl. I miss you. But yeah, there's still slight interference. You can just barely see it. Actually, right where, the funny thing is right where the bridge is. It's right in through there. And then it's one of those things that the interference. The reason why I didn't see it is that it's lined up perfectly with the module. So that's why I didn't see interference, because it looks like Mystic has also wandered out. But yeah, it's basically the interference is still there. It's just that it lined up with the diorama, so you don't notice it. Nice. All right. So, well, we'll let that dry for this evening and switch over to the other camera. Okay. So, this is much brighter here also. Well, mainly because the other lights were behind the back, the green screen, but these are 4 foot long, so they actually come behind that. So, all right. Well, I guess that'll be it for this evening. All right. So, yes, it's a very bright light, which is nice. Which is nice. I was able to see everything, but it is one of those things of, unfortunately, the cameras are still picking up the interference. If I wind up this, as you saw, if I use different lights, thank you, Dwight. If I use different lights, there's no interference, or if I use a different camera, there's no interference. But for some reason, with that specific light, with that specific camera, there's interference. So that'll be it for that, and I'll just have to reconnect the other lights. I might actually have to turn around maybe next week. Turn around. It's like, does the interference go like tonight? Actually, line up with the diorama, so nobody notices. But looks like I will not be able to keep that up. So, Missy J is for Sidetrack Sunday. So, I believe the world needs more love, so find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. Bye, everyone.